in the last episode.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
And now...
Which is what white people are. They're fucking aliens. They're fucking parasites. They're fucking soulless monsters.
We're gonna make this a series not just about women, but one that is directed, written, produced, and filmed by women.
Feminists, I got a question for you. Greetings, Internet. I'm Shadow Question. I'm sorry that this video took so long to make. I'm usually very busy and I don't see myself doing YouTube on a regular basis. I can only post videos when I have information available. Sorry. The other reason, in regards to this video, being, this.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic.
Those aren't even words! Just garbage falling out of the stupid square-jawed face of a stupid piece of shit!
Okay, chill, Batman. Chill. I don't have to be the one to tell you this. See, this is the kind of reaction I wanted to avoid making this video. There are issues to cover in this video, and I wanted to approach them with a clear head. Or as clear as possible. Having that said, I am not going to argue or debate with feminists, Black Lives Matters, or anyone in the left for that matter. Not just because it's not worth to waste the air on them, in my opinion, but also because other YouTubers can and will do a much better job at it than I ever could, such as Bearing, Sargon of Akkad, Chris Reagan, Tilder, just to name a few. And if you are coming from these channels, you probably already know that feminists present themselves like this. However, in reality, they end up looking like this. Or more oftenly, like this.
I'm me, because of me.
Oh my lord, you are so embarrassing.
Hey.
So if you decided to stay this long through the video and seen the previous video that I have made, you're probably wondering why did I title it as Feminism is Murder. Well, let's see if I can explain. In the previous episode of this series, I asked you the question if you've seen the pattern. And there is a reason I ask this, because this is the same pattern with the Federal Reserve. Well, kind of. Same tactics, same principles, same double standards. But yet again, I might be wrong. You be the judge. So, let's see if we can break down this mess.
Why is talking to women so goddamn hard?
Well, what do you think?
The real short, simple answer is because we put expectations on attractive women. In the sense that we expect a lot out of them. We expect them to be, sometimes some people will legitimately say, oh man, she's out of my league. We expect them to be too good for us, and so a lot of pressure gets placed on our shoulders when it comes to, talking and engaging with women.
Interesting idea. But then, how do we build up such massive expectations in the first place? I think I know the answer. Pornography. Apparently, porn have existed since the Roman Empire and prior, but the results of it could still be the same for the purpose of this argument. That being, the power of the visual. Preageru University have made a video about this subject, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below if you want to get a better understanding of what I'm talking about.
It's that men are programmed by nature, not by society, to respond sexually to the visual. The visual alone arouses men, and the average heterosexual man is excited countless times a day simply by seeing women. In person, on billboards, in magazines, on television, and even in his imagination. Men get turned on by any sight of female flesh on almost any female. That's why you see ads on billboards, on TV, and in magazines for every sort of product a man might buy, accompanied by a scantily clad woman, or sometimes just part of her. To deny the power of the visual on men is like denying that the earth is round.
And it's this kind of power that they're using and abusing to hurt us. Here's an example.
Now, I want you to think about something, Jordan. Say you meet a girl. You're sweet on her. You want a relationship with her. Long term. She says she wants one with you, and she acts just like that. The two of you are getting intimate, and she assures you that she's on the pill, but unbeknownst to you, she's full of shit. You have sex with her. A month later, she stops returning your calls. You eventually get the picture and realize she didn't really want a relationship with you, and so you just move on with your life. A year later, you get a paycheck that's 3/5 of what it would normally be, with a notice that your wages are being garnished to pay child support. You didn't even know you had a kid. Now you're paying for one. So you call her up. She admits that she lied to you about birth control. She tells you she intentionally got pregnant against your wishes, and then she hid the pregnancy from you, and when she wanted to apply for some kind of social assistance or government benefit to help her out, she had to put your name down so the government could recoup some of its outlay. So sorry. Oh, and by the way, according to the law, she's done nothing wrong. Now, if you'd poked holes in the condoms, you'd be guilty of rape. But if she does the exact same thing, she's not even guilty of fraud. And if you fail or refuse to finance her unilateral decision and her hijacking of your life, if you refuse to do that for 18 to 26 years, you're guilty of felony child support evasion. And you wonder why there are men out there advising other men to steer clear of sexual relationships with women.
Remember when Anita Sarkeesian went to the UN with Zoe Quinn and asked them to remove YouTube videos criticizing her?
We can make systems that actively deter that kind of behavior, which would make a huge impact on the lives of me and so many other people who are being harassed online.
Well, now we have restricted mode on YouTube. Kind of think about it, it seems rather similar to what the Nazis were doing before and after they rose to power. Propaganda that promotes jealousy, demonizing, or dehumanizing any opposition to their agenda, and trying to force every debate under a narrow lens of their choosing. What I find more disturbing is the willingness of corporations, media outlets, and administrative branches of government to follow blindly or run along with their narratives, especially if they know for a fact that they're false. It raises a lot of concerns, as it should be, considering just how the mainstream media is incredibly biased in the SJW's favor. I think this is the part where MatPat's Leave PewDiePie Alone video comes in. I'll leave a link for that too. I think it has something to do with the increasingly restrictive nature of social media platforms. To give you a broader perspective on this restrictiveness, of which I heard from Mundane Matt and cannot refute at the moment, let me show you the following clip.
We are information transmitters. Information enters through our senses, like our eyes and our ears, and it exits through our expressions, like our voices, our writings, our drawings. And we are neurons in a great mind. In an individual mind, information flows from neuron to neuron, And that creates a bigger phenomenon called thought, and that creates a bigger phenomenon called mind. Ideas flow in and they flow out, and they change a little as they go along, and that's called innovation or progress. But thanks to copyright, we live in a regime where some information can go in, but it can't come out. And I often hear people engaged in creative pursuits ask, am I allowed to use this? I don't want to get in trouble. Trouble may include lawsuits, fines, and even jail. And it's the threat of trouble that is dictating our choices about what we express. Copyright activates our internal censors. Internal censorship is the enemy of creativity because it halts expression before it can even begin. And if you're asking, am I allowed to use this? You may have surrendered your internal authority to lawyers, legislators, and corporations. Whenever we censor our expression, we close a little more and information flows a little less. The less information flows, the more it stagnates. Evolution, progress, and innovation stall. And this is what we call permission culture. When you shut down neurons to prevent them from transmitting signals, we call that brain damage. Copyright is brain damage. It's brain damage in the great mind, and it's brain damage in the individual mind.
I'm sure some of you are aware of the Where's the Fair Use movement that started for very similar reasons. So, if copyright or copyright abuse is brain damage, then censorship or silencing freedom of speech is nothing short of assault and battery with a deadly weapon and an attempt of first-degree murder. Now, I know it sounds very social justice-y, but think about it this way. The last time people lost their freedom of speech, they ended up with Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin. For those of you who study history, you know what they have done. None of the things being said here are anything new. Cassie J has already talked about all of these issues in her documentary, The Red Pill, which I strongly suggest that you watch. And now that we know that women are more privileged than any other man in general society and by law, we have all the more reasons to be angry with the ruthlessness and the stubbornness of the feminists. Whatever they are entitled to from their men, they want it here and now. The man himself is a nuisance, and for the most part, their behavior can easily be explained with the following statement.
You tear me down to make yourself feel better because you really hate yourself, which is kind of pathetic when you actually stop and think about it, assuming of course you can think.
I have recently heard about a group called Men Going Their Own Way, or MGTOW, and from what I understand, they basically swore off women altogether. And I can't blame them. Why would anyone want to live under the thumb of some,
Narcissistic little bitch.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but close enough.
And what are they saying that's so awful? That a man needs a woman like a bicycle needs a fish? That any given woman has the option of destroying her male partner if she so chooses? And not only will the system allow it, it will hold him down and put its hand over his screaming mouth while she does it.
Which leads me to the question... So I have to answer this. This is not a good time for it. Wait. You found what? No. Do not allow anyone in there. I want to see it for myself. And don't let them contaminate the evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to cut this short. And again, if you don't believe me, do your own research. Until then, to be continued.